So when I look at all the different forces that are shaping our nation, whether it's cultural forces or narratives, whether it's actual institutions, whether it's policy, I really can't look at any of them and say, oh yeah, they're putting the kid first. There are individual parents and maybe some private school institutions that are putting kids first, that are genuinely working to advance the well-being of children. But that's it. I don't think that the education system as a whole is doing that. And our education chapter was written by Tiffany Justice, who's the co-founder of Moms for Liberty, who is, arguably spearheading the largest parental rights movement in the country that very often intersects with challenging the public school system, which is one of the greatest tools to undermine parental rights and child education. So even the institutions that are ostensibly there to advance what children need are working against kids and working against parents. And so unfortunately, I can't look around. I mean, maybe one of your readers or your listeners can bring something to my attention that I have not seen. But when you look at things like pornography, right? Everything and the digital technology, both of those kind of touch on different illicit materials that are coming to kids. The default factory settings on things like smartphones always default to something that serves the adult first. You have to go through an awful lot of steps to get that phone to the point where you've got maximum security so a 10-year-old can't see more naked images of a woman before his feet hit the floor than most men see in their entire lifetime. It takes a lot of work to actually get just that one aspect of technology in line with something that could be considered child protective or putting kids first. In terms of immigration, for example, a lot of times we are pushing that in the name of, doing things that are good for the economy, doing things that are good for American citizens in terms of like fueling the job force, bringing people in that are going to do jobs that Americans won't do. I'll tell you what, Laura Reese wrote our immigration chapter. She's been doing immigration policy for nearly 30 years. She's at the Heritage Foundation. She makes it very, very clear that our current immigration policy is good for neither American children nor immigrant children. The unaccompanied minor program that unfortunately the Biden-Harris administration has absolutely let go completely out of control has now siphoned somewhere between 30 and 300,000 children into the trafficking world. We have lost track of those unaccompanied minors. So even a lot of the programs, that we say are for the kids or we do in the name of the kids or are supposedly have some kind of benefit to the population at large or to kids are not child-centric. They are not things that are prioritizing or protecting kids. And so I don't know, can you think of some area of culture? Can you think of an institution that's genuinely prioritizing kids? I mean, even in the ESG chapter that Justin Danoff wrote, he's one of the guys that started Strive with Vivek Ramaswamy. Even he says, people like Disney are using children's programming to push ESG and DEI priorities. And ESG and DEI don't help kids, right? It is an attack on the meritocracy. And when you apply it at the national level, like Sri Lanka did, you plunge children into poverty and hunger. So a lot of these different programs, a lot of these different issues that we address, they're promoted as good for society and sometimes good for children. I don't think any of them are.